this tall? How high? How high? That
This
high?
high.
That high? Wow.
Thank you. All right, so it's these ones. Mark was queuing me up here. Hello, everyone. I am Allison Wood, and this is Draft Policy 2019-2, waiting list block size restrictions that you heard just a little bit about in RS's talk. So shepherds on this policy are myself, Allison Wood, and you can recognize him by the Bitmoji, Andrew Dole. And there he is. And I do want to give a shout out to my Copacabana volleyball team. We fought a good fight last night. Wendy stacked her team with some professional volleyball players. I don't think that was fair, but we'll move on. All right. So as you all know, that the wait list has been suspended, and this proposal is an attempt to minimize the abuse in the free pool. So I know there's a lot of waitlist experts, free pool experts in the crowd, but we did have a lot of newcomers. So just forgive me while I back up a little bit and talk a little bit about the free pool. So an organization can apply for IP address space from the free pool. They'll be put on a waiting list, and the minimum that we dole out is a /24. Today, as RS mentioned, there is no maximum. So we do have people sitting on the waiting list waiting for a /16. They are granted that access granted that IP address space when it comes available. So people requesting smaller blocks usually get their space before the people requesting larger blocks, but they still get their space. So the summary of this policy proposal or draft policy is that the maximum size that we dole out on the free pool is a /22. If an organization comes in and requests a smaller size than that, then obviously we would go with whatever smaller, the /22, or what they qualify for under the ARIN requirements. So this is the current text with the update in blue and underlined. And again, so what it says is today an organization can come to ARIN. If they meet requirements, they get the address space that they request over time. And the update to the policy would state that the most that they can get is a /22 if they meet the requirements. All right, so this I pulled directly from the PPML. These are comments that came back from you, the community, and I hope that they will instigate some discussion. So pretty much limiting the maximum block size to a /22 will decrease the financial incentive by the bad actors out there. The majority of waiting list requests are for smaller block sizes, so by eliminating the fraudulent activity, that should, and also reducing the block size, that should allow people asking for smaller blocks to get their IP address space quicker. Okay, so what we learned today is that APNIC does dole out a /23, so my slide is incorrect, but RIPE and LACNIC will give out /22s out of their last /8s. So if we switched our policy to be a /22, we would be in line with RIPE and LACNIC. And let's see, organizations that generally need larger blocks can obtain those blocks on the transfer market. Oh, I turned it off. So that's okay, I haven't memorized. So, practiced after volleyball. Okay, thank you. So, for discussion, so please feel free to come to the mics and discuss anything you'd like with this policy. I'm happy to answer all of your questions. However, I would love to know if you support the suspension of the waiting list, if you feel that a /22 is the appropriate size block, or if you would like to see different sizes. And I don't know if other restrictions that should be applied are appropriate in this policy block, but I'm more than happy to answer and address your questions and comments.
Thank you.
Yes, you are welcome.
That high? Jeez. Oh. So a little preface is apparently the guns line up at the microphones. So, you know, if you've looked at the agenda, you've seen that there is several policies that are all related to this wait list. So I'd ask that comments be directed to whether you are in favor or against this policy, and try and avoid discussing other policies when that block comes up. We do have some open microphone later, so if later you want to try and bring back some items, we can always address it there. But we generally, for the idea of a fluid policy discussion, try and deal with the matter on the table, which is 2019-2. So with that warm-up preamble, I'll ask if there's anybody that wants to speak. Oh, wait, look, there's tons of people. Just to throw it off a little bit, we'll go to the side microphone. Okay, while that one gets on, front
Start over there.
microphone.
Yeah.
Why don't we go to that microphone while that one gets, we don't seem to have anyone on that one.
Okay. Chris Woodfield, Salesforce ARIN-AC. I support the policy as written. I believe that suspending the waiting list was the right thing to do under the circumstances. I believe that this policy would not be the only mitigation I would like to see be put in place before the waiting list allocations are resumed.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll try that microphone.
Kevin Bloomberg, The Wire. I support the suspension of the wait list. That's the first thing. I support the intent of this proposal, but this proposal is not enough unto itself to then allow for the wait list to be brought back. The 22, I believe, is the right size. It's very consistent with other regions. I don't think right now it makes a difference whether it was a 22 or 23, but I think that's fine. In looking at the the other regions, the disincentive financially has been because of their fees yearly for these services. As an end user, once you've gotten it, the fees are very low. One of the things to consider is possibly only allowing the wait list to go to RSA, Registration Services Agreement people, who are then having to pay for these services every year to maintain them. That would be a very big disincentive, very similar to the other regions, like I said. I would like to see it either under no transfer or under a long wait list, 3 to 5 years, similar to what APNIC has just looked at. Again, there has to be something other than just /22 for me to support opening the wait list back up.
Okay, thank you. Back to the middle microphone.
Owen DeLong, ARIN-AC. Can we go back to the slide with the questions for the community?
You betcha.
There we go. I would support reinstating the waiting list if we address the issues that were raised by the board when they suspended it. I think 22 is fine. I'm actually fine with anything 21 or longer as being a perfectly valid size to do this. I do think we need other restrictions. I would like to see at least a strong 24-month waiting period for transfer with a possible exception for M&A, but I'm not completely sure I want to make an exception for M&A. But we can discuss that under other policy proposals. So I'll leave that at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to the side.
Joe Provo, ARIN-AC, Google. Speaking for myself, yes, I wish we could go smaller, but I don't think we could. And most definitely, yes. I will speak to the other policies when they are up.
Thank you. Middle microphone again.
David Farmer, University of Minnesota, ARIN-AC. I support reinstating 22, like Owen said, 21 to 24, anything in that range seems reasonable. 22 seems as good as anything. And yes, we probably need additional restrictions. One comment here, there was discussion of, well, 22 doesn't completely eliminate the incentives, and we are not about completely eliminating fraud. We're not going. There's no way to be perfect in that. We're looking to have a reasonable balance between disincentivizing fraud and making sure that there's no large incentives and penalizing the good guys and penalizing the people that are doing legitimate things. So it's about finding a balance, not about perfectly eliminating fraud.
Okay.
I support the policy as written.
Thank you. Microphones are still open, but we'll have to close soon if I run out of speakers, so please approach a microphone shortly. Back over to this side, please.
Barry Sherwood, Great Basin Internet Services. I am in support of this as written. I'd like to see a 24-month waiting period, and I think I prefer the word arbitrage over fraud. Let's not, because I think it is a gaming of the system. Yes. I don't know that it's necessarily fraud. It's just somebody sees an opportunity and they're taking advantage of it. And if we don't like it, we can stop it. So there you go.
Thank you. The microphones will have to close after this speaker if we do not have, so please approach a microphone as soon as possible if you'd like to speak.
Yes, thank you. Chris Tassett, Tassett Law, and ARIN-AC. I would only support reinstating the wait list if the considerations that the board identified in suspending it could be significantly lowered or eliminated. Although I think I take David's point that it may be impossible to completely eliminate the problem, but we might be able to make it a minimal issue. 22/22 seems fine to me. And with respect to other restrictions, yes, I believe there need to be others for the simple reason that, as we heard yesterday, there's going to be economic value in IPv4 address space for the foreseeable future, and it's likely to increase in the next while. And so whatever we do will need to be probably a multi-pronged solution that calibrates itself to try and counter some of the economic incentives. And I'm not sure a block size is enough. So I'll reserve judgment as to what might be after we listen to a few of the other proposals and maybe discuss it after that. But I don't think any one remedy is going to be enough. I think it will need a combination of techniques to do it.
Okay, thank you for Chris. So that's going to close the microphones unless I'll give remote one extra second. All right, so that ends it. So we will thank, not only will we thank you for your presentation, we'll also explain why we keep making the joke, because she is I broke her world record in high jump just recently. So double. Thank you. So that ends that one. And John?
Yep.